So my name is April Punsalan, and I'm the founder of Yahola Herbal School, and we're at the beautiful Hampton Park in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to review camphor, magnolia, which is also known as the grand magnolia, and then Spanish moss. So camphor is a non-native invasive tree, but it's very medicinal. And so this tree grows in India, and it grows in areas in Asia where it's native. And here it's not native and has become invasive because it was planted as an ornamental tree, and it spreads in the Charleston area, because you can probably see there's tons of birds eating these fruits right now. But it is an amazing medicinal plant that you can connect with and that you can benefit from, because it is very beneficial for one of the most common ailments of humans, which is respiratory infections and the common cold. And so this is one of those, what I consider in many areas, because it spreads naturally now from the birds, a wild herb. A lot of times people don't plant this in their yard, it just pops up. And these leaves have a very aromatic menthol smell, and that's because of the oil and the resin that is responsible for Vicks Vapor Rub. If you ever heard Vicks Vapor Rub, the oil and the resin really help to open up the respiratory system and allow us to breathe more easily. And the other cool thing about it is it's highly antimicrobial. So there's a lot of research that shows that it helps to fight bacteria. So it's a good herb to know, and one of the ways that I teach students to work with it is through steam facials. And so you can easily collect some, come out here and forage it. There's no shortage in the Charleston area. Bring a pot of water to boil, take it off and add the camphor leaves, and then cover your face with a towel and breathe in the steam from this plant for at least 10 minutes. So next I want to show you the grand magnolia, which is known as Magnolia virginiana. The genus Magnolia, which occurs almost around the world, it occurs in East Asia, South America, here in North America, is used for medicine in many areas where it's found, especially in East Asia. And so the indigenous people saw the grand magnolia as the tree of peace. And a lot of the ethnobotany texts talk about how they connected with this tree to help to dispel heat, to help heal the digestive system. So if you cut this stem right here and you smell, you can smell the medicine. It smells amazing, and students are always really impressed when I hand them some and they chew it. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Because that bitter aromatic smell is what helps to dispel gas and to tone our digestive system. And for me, her amazing properties show me just how disconnected we are to the flora here in the Southeast, and how much work needs to be done to help reconnect people to the flora. So the last plant that I'm going to cover with you is Spanish moss. Spanish moss occurs in America only in the Southeast, so from Norfolk, Virginia, south down to Florida, and west into Texas. And a lot of people fear touching it because there is an old tale that it has chiggers or red bugs. And you know, I used to be a botanist for Yahola National Forest, and if there were chiggers, I got them. So the fact that I've never gotten bitten by any insect while holding it makes me not fearful of working with Spanish moss. And I don't want people to be fearful of it because it's such an important plant for us to connect with. So the Latin name of Spanish moss is Tillandsia usinoides, and it is in the bromeliad family. So it's not a moss, it's actually an epiphytic plant. And so you can see it has little flowers, and they bloom in June, and they actually smell fragrant at night. So mosses don't produce flowers, that's one of your giveaways. And this is called a festoon. The way it hangs in long festoons, leafy branches, and it's covered in these really cool gray scales that actually help it trap moisture. It's not harmful to the plant, to the tree. It mostly grows on in the south, live oaks, Quercus virginiana. But here is a crepe myrtle, which is not native to this area, but Spanish moss, for some reason, loves crepe myrtles, probably because it gets a lot of sun when the leaves die back. the indigenous people worked with this herb medicinally too, and people in Mexico still work with this herb medicinally, and I believe it's in their pharmacopoeia. And the Gullah Geechee community knows the wisdom and medicine of this herb, Spanish moss. So some of the uses, and there is actually research on this, people research this plant even in China, and they use it for facial skincare products. And so I teach students how to make a toner from it. You can also use this for inflammation, internal inflammation, but you're using it more externally. So you can make a decoction and add it to your bath, and I teach students how to do that. But there's a lot of other people, indigenous and the Gullah Geechee community, that know more about this herb than I do. I just like to let people know that it's not a moss, it's a medicinal plant, and you can work with this plant to relieve inflammation and to improve your skin.